Hello there, my beautiful friends. Welcome to another week's worth of food. After a chill matcha moment, we got into making some breakfast. So I'm throwing Japanese sweet potato into my beautiful pink pot, along with a splash of water, olive oil, and some salt. And we're gonna chuck that into the oven at 175 Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. Once they're all good, soft as ever, and decadent and delicious. Sweet potatoes are just the ultimate potato. Whether it's an orange sweet potato, a Japanese sweet potato, it's like the starchiness of a potato, but the sweetness of love, you know? But anyways, I piled black beans that I soaked and boiled the day prior, along with some greens, homemade sauerkraut, a sprinkle of nooch, black pepper, and why not add a little bit of chili on there as well. And my best friend, balsamic vinegar. A few hours later, I was just jamming work out on my laptop on this day, so I just decided to warm up some leftovers, because leftovers are your best friend on a busy day, and thoroughly enjoyed my penne pasta dilly lemony moment. So today I ran out to the grocery store to pick up a few things, and I was thinking, yeah, let's make some rice paper rolls. Ooh, that'd be so good. Make a peanut butter sauce with it. I got everything but rice paper wraps. So this is an inspired bowl. I have a rice paper wrap, but in bowl form, as I just said. But I chopped up a bunch of vegetables and then got into dicing up or slicing up my tofu tempeh. This is tempeh. To season it, I did about a tablespoon worth of soy sauce, a good crack of black pepper, some smoked paprika, and then chili to my spice level. Gave everything a good flip and then just let that hang out for the rest of the time. I saw a new way to open up a mango, which is peel the skin off and then cut it off of the pit or pith, the big old seed in the middle. This was great for the slicing aspect of the mango, but getting it off of the seed was extremely difficult because mango is slimy. Well, not slimy, it's slippery. So don't recommend if you're using a very sharp knife. You may cut your fingers off. However, let's get into this sauce. I'm combining 1 tablespoon of sugar with a little bit of water just to dissolve it. That was hot water, by the way. A tablespoon worth of peanut butter, a tablespoon worth of soy sauce, a teaspoon worth of sesame oil, a fresh Thai chili to taste, obviously. I did about 1/4 to 1/2 of one. A teaspoon worth of lemon juice. You can totally use lime juice and or rice vinegar. And then I minced up some ginger as well. I love the fresh element of ginger. It's just like so crisp and tangy and like just hits ya right in the mouth. But if you don't like that, then obviously just sub that out. And then we got on to building our bowl. So we got a ribboned carrot, our thinly sliced red cabbage, half of a mango in each bowl, cucumber, cooked up some quinoa, had some cilantro, my seasoned tempeh, and of course, the peanut butter sauce. This bowl was so fun. The element of mango in it just made everything so much fresher. It made it pop. And then the peanut butter on the mango, I don't know who would think it would go together, but trust me, it does, my friends. You can also sprinkle some sesame seeds and some green onion on top and make it a little extra fancy for yourself because you deserve it, babe. have a life hack for you, and this has nothing to do with the food that I'm eating. Buy yourself an extra, extra large man's shirt in a pretty color, of course, like pink or maybe, I don't know, light green or whatever your vibe is, and wear it around your house as a dress. It is the most comfortable, amazing thing of life. I've had this pink shirt for well over a year now, and I have brought it on all of my travels, even though it does not pack well, it does not roll up small, and it's, not the best backpacking clothes, but it has been to 15 countries. So the level of how much I love the coziness of it, that just says it all. So today was the day of love. It was Valentine's Day, and I know this video is coming out well after Valentine's Day, but I hope you spent it loving yourself and loving other people, even if that doesn't mean a significant other. I had these lovely little olive thingamajiggers made for me out of love, and what next? A hot chocolate, because hot chocolate is literally love. Like, it's love in a cup. So I'm combining 1 tablespoon worth of sugar, 1 teaspoon, I should say, 1 heaping tablespoon of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon worth of reishi mushroom powder, cup worth of hot water, and 1/4 a cup of oat milk to cool it all down and make it creamy and delicious.
It's probably a vase.
Yeah. It could be a cup. It's still the same function.
I made it a cup.
So to add to the love of the day, I drank myself some white wine and ordered takeout. This fake chicken burger thing was way too real. It freaks me out how real fake meat is getting. But I do gotta say, it was delicious. So an obvious thing, a no-duh thing, is that love is not just for Valentine's Day or special occasions. Love is every day. Love is constant. It's all around you. And although we live in a world with so much corruption, God and the universe are here to support you.
I sprouted these chickpeas. Let me know if you guys have ever sprouted chickpeas and what your favorite thing is to do with them. Because as of right now, I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google, and I need ideas. They're so cool though. They're so cute. I think what I want to do is make a video where I'm just doing a bunch of experimenting, like making sauerkraut, sprouting things, like all of that jazz in one dedicated video coming up soon. Let me know if you guys want that and what you want to see in it. I want to do something new and something that I have done multiple times before, because obviously I want to share wisdom, but also do something fun and experiment with something new as well. So let me know, and yeah, we gotta water these chickpeas now. We gotta water our crops.
So this chutney has been on my to-do list for a few days now, and I am so excited to dive into it. I started it off. I really slur my words sometimes. Okay, I chopped up half of a red onion and a good chunk of ginger. I'm only gonna add about half of this, or 3/4 of this, to the mixture, so just chop ginger to your liking. But I minced 5 to 6 cloves of garlic. I'm using this new tool that I got, and you just crush the garlic through its little holes. It's kind of cool, but it's a lot harder than you think. Like, you have to apply a lot of pressure. I opted to use a jalapeno that I had in the fridge just because I needed to use it up, but feel free to use whatever chili you have available to you. A red Thai chili would be really delicious in this. But I got a tablespoon of olive oil into a cool pot. You don't have to start cold. I just wanted to chuck everything in, along with the ginger, garlic, red onion, chili, and a small handful of curry leaves. I had these apples previously cut. Like I said, this chutney has been on my to-do list for many days now. So I got my chopped apple in there along with half of a teaspoon of salt. Tried to stir it the best I could, but covered it with a lid and allowed it to hang out for about 5 to 10 minutes or so before adding half of a cup of sugar, half of a cup of vinegar, and half of a teaspoon worth of cinnamon, which was an afterthought, but I'm very glad that I added. And while that's cooking for a long time on the stove, I needed some breakfast. First things first, I'm just gonna munch on this mango because mango is love. There are many foods that are love. Mango is probably my favorite fruit. Blueberries are my favorite berry, but mango is my favorite fruit. That's my way of having two favorites, but saying that they're not the same. Anyways, I'm making myself a makeshift olive bread thing that I had the other day. Adding some avocado on top along with some homemade sauerkraut, red onion, and some sprouted lentils that I made, along with some cucumber. And I'm gonna top it off with some black pepper, a pinch of salt, and a little bit of dill. And because balsamic vinegar is my BFF, I'm gonna dip these in that and enjoy.
Control of the remote, staring steady at the channels, giving up on intuition. I'm obsessed with television, it's true. Yeah, you know they're coming when I disappear.
So after about 25 to 30 minutes or so on a low-ish heat, the chutney was finally broken down enough where I could crush the apples with my spoon, and then I put it in a jar and allowed it to hang out until it was cool.
Staring out the window, reaching for a
Let's get into lunch. Gonna cook up some brown rice, chop up some vegetables. We're doing thinly sliced red cabbage, some red onion, mixed greens, some cucumber, and I'm gonna ribbon some carrot as well. Ribboning carrot is like my favorite way to do it. I love it. It's so delicious. Still adds a nice layer of crunch to your bowl, but it's not like harsh, overwhelming crunch. It does take some time and dedication, but I do highly recommend it. I also threw some homemade sauerkraut on my bowl along with the cooked up brown rice, half of an avocado, or a quarter of an avocado I should say, for each bowl, and a couple scoops of hummus. But of course, we need a sauce. So let's make a spicy, delicious sauce. I'm adding 1 tablespoon worth of gochujang, a tablespoon worth of tahini, 1 lime's juice, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of water depending on how thick or thin your tahini is. This is super tangy, super spicy, creamy, absolutely delicious, and it is such a bright, intense color. It just makes you want to eat more of it. Adds such a beautiful pop to a recipe, or to a bootable, I should say. I also sprinkled on some seed mix with a variety of different seeds, a crack of black pepper, and a few little sprigs of cilantro as well. This one tasted as beautiful as it looked. So I was inspired to get a head start on dinner by chopping up very finely my cilantro. You can 100% make this recipe in a food processor or a blender, but if you don't have that, that's okay. Get chopping, my friends. So like I said, a huge handful of cilantro, 1/4 of a jalapeno, 1/4 of a teaspoon worth of salt, a teaspoon worth of sugar, and half of a lemon's juice. And then I just set that aside, did some more work during my day, and then got on to making the rest of dinner, maybe an hour or so later. Seasoning my tempeh with 1 tablespoon worth of balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon worth of soy sauce, smoked paprika, and chili to taste. Giving them a flip after I got all of the ingredients on the plate, and setting that aside until we build our tacos later. I'm frying up some mushrooms, seasoning them with some salt, some black pepper, a dash of balsamic vinegar, and some smoked paprika as well. And I'm just frying those up until all of the liquid has evaporated and they've become very browned and super fragrant as well. Into that same pan, I'm throwing 1 can of kidney beans, half of a cup of water, quarter of a teaspoon of salt, and chili to taste. And you're going to use your spoon to break down the beans as well, crushing them, kind of creating a bit of like a bean paste. And of course, every taco needs some sort of guacamole. I'm just keeping this one extremely simple. I'm adding 2 avocados to a bowl along with 1/4 of a lemon's or lime's juice, a dash of chili, and then salt to taste. Just crushing the avocado, but not mashing it completely. I still love like the chunks of avocado in my guacamole. So on my final taco, I got my bean mix, my avocado mixture, which is my guacamole, my red cabbage, mushrooms, a fresh tomato, red onion, cucumber, my seasoned tempeh, and the cilantro sauce that we made earlier as well. Unfortunately, I could not find any corn tortillas or tortillas in the grocery store. I looked everywhere, could not find them for the life of me. So I just decided to get some wheat 6-inch tortillas. That's what I could find, so that's what I used. And the flavors of this meal were so incredible. So today was a bit of a work day. I made myself a matcha. I didn't film making it, but I was working on my laptop, drank that, and then got into some breakfast. Into my pan, I added some olive oil, a few cloves of garlic, cumin seeds, curry leaves, black pepper, smoked paprika, and then eventually got my sprouted chickpeas in there. Added some chili to taste, seasoned it with a pinch more salt, and then added about a tablespoon worth of tomato paste, a splash of water. Mixed that all together, and then I just threw all of the leftover mixture from last night onto one tortilla wrap thing, and then threw those sprouted chickpeas that I just cooked up on top. That was breakfast, and I loved it. It was so delicious. No need to get fancy with it. Just have your leftovers, chuck it in a wrap, maybe make one more element, and there you go. As the afternoon came around, I had myself a rooibos tea, because well, in South Africa, along with a couple squares of chocolate. A couple hours later, I had myself a quick protein shake, just mixing some oat milk, water, and some Sprout Living vanilla protein powder together. I also munched on some more leftovers while FaceTiming a friend. And we're getting into dinner pretty late. So I have some penne pasta cooking in a pot behind me, and we're gonna make a creamy sauce to go on top. I'm combining a half of a lemon's juice along with a big scoop of hummus, seasoning that with salt. And this meal is going to be a mac and cheese inspired penne recipe, but I was craving crispy tofu. So I got some olive oil into my pan and just using my hands crushed the tofu into chunks, threw that onto the stove, and then finely chopped some white onion, threw that into the pan along with the tofu. And if you know me, you know I love adding a little spice to my recipes. So a Thai chili, about 3/4 of it into the pan with the tofu, and a quarter of it into the hummus sauce that I'm making. So this may seem a little silly, but my silliness does have purpose. That way we do not have to wash another pot. So I'm adding some olive oil and some onion into that pot that the penne was in, letting that do its thing while I season my tofu with some soy sauce and balsamic vinegar, combining that all together, throwing a pinch of cumin seed along with some chili and smoked paprika to my tofu, seasoning with my onions, which are in the big pot, with some salt, and then got on to chopping some broccoli. I feel like when I was a child, broccoli in mac and cheese was a crime, and now as an adult, it is a necessity. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but I love broccoli in my mac and cheese. So I threw that into the pot along with a splash of water, covered it with a lid, and allowed that to do its thing until the broccoli was tender. And of course, to make it cheesy and delicious as a vegan, we gotta add a couple tablespoons worth of nutritional yeast to our hummus sauce. And once the broccoli was cooked, I tried my best to mix the pasta in as gracefully as I could, drizzled in half of that sauce. Again, try to mix it up as the best that I could, and then finally adding the rest of the sauce. I highly recommend adding a good splash of water to the mixture as well, because the hummus does get dry fairly fast, and nobody likes dry pasta. Once I got a couple bowls plated, I sprinkled my crispy tofu on top along with a dollop of salsa as well. Adding the salsa was a fun kind of Mexi vibe to this cheesy pasta, but I recommend it. I think it was really good. What's something that was painful for you to go through, but you're glad happened in hindsight? We often go through troubles that, in the moment, suck. They suck and we can't see through them, we can't see past them. But maybe a month, maybe 2, maybe 6 months, maybe a few years down the line, we are so glad that that thing happened. Reflect on that, my friends. If you guys know me, you know that I am a cook. I am not a baker. I had no idea really what the hell I was doing here. I enjoy baking, and I want to get better at it, but I don't have all of the tools at my disposal at this moment in time while I was making this recipe anyways. I did not have baking soda or baking powder, and I set that aside in hopes that that mixture would maybe rise naturally. The fermentation process would make it bubbly, you know? Spoiler alert, it didn't. But anyways, while we were waiting for the potential rise of my banana loaf to happen, I cooked up some tofu and some olive oil, seasoned it with some salt, and then that creamy, spicy dressing that we made earlier, I threw that onto a wrap along with the spicy tofu, some cilantro, salsa, some greens, and some avocado as well. After about an hour and 45 minutes of nothing happening and no movement of my loaf, I decided that it probably would never rise. Like, not even a millimeter of movement, my friends. I doused the bottom of this Dutch oven in some coconut oil, preheated my oven, and threw it in there in hopes that maybe it would be okay. It ended up just being like a doughy banana protein bar with no protein.
It's not what I wanted, but it's not bad. Frank construction.
I had a bunch of onion and a bunch of dill that needed to be used up, and what better way to use both of those ingredients than to pickle them. I like a little bit more of a crispy crunch to my pickled onions, so I left them quite large. You can cut them however your heart desires. I then shoved a massive amount of dill into the jar along with probably 3 onions, and then on the stove, I had a mixture of 1 cup of vinegar, half a cup of water, half a teaspoon worth of salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Close the jar and set it aside for a couple days to do its thing before sticking it into the fridge. But let's get into dinner. I'm chopping a bunch of carrots. I had to use them up, so all of the carrots that I had in the house, along with 1 red onion. Cooking red onion is not something that I do very often. I don't know why. It's absolutely delicious, but I always just find myself reaching for white onion instead. But anyways, I got my carrot and red onion into my pot. I allowed them to do their thing for a number of minutes until the red onion was translucent and soft. Added 1 tablespoon of this tom yum paste that I bought in Thailand, along with a 1/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon worth of tahini. Mixed that all together until it was creamy and delicious, and then throwing in my tofu as well. Mixing that all on up, throwing the lid on top, and allowing it to do its thing for about 10 minutes on low heat. I then served up some brown rice that I cooked, and this was dinner. I also topped it off with some seed mix, some green onion. All in all, this recipe took about 25 minutes to make, so it's perfect for a lazy night in where you want something nourishing to eat, but you're feeling a little bit lazy.
I think I forgot to season this entire thing with salt. A little sprinkle. Much better.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you could hit the like button and subscribe button, I truly appreciate it. I'll see you again so very soon. Lots of love, my friends. Mwah!